If you shy away from pancakes for breakfast because they don't have staying power, think again. These pancakes are chock full of good things, like high-protein cottage cheese and fiber-rich old-fashioned oats. But they're also fluffy, tender, and oh so stackable. You won't want to sleep on these cottage cheese pancakes.
By the way, this is a lesson from ATK Classes on the America's Test Kitchen app. With ATK Classes, you'll get access to a wide variety of lessons filled with masterful techniques, helpful videos, and step-by-step photos. From knife skills and making hand-rolled pasta, to baking and frosting incredible cakes, and so much more.
Most pancake recipes start with flour and baking powder for lift. I've got 2/3 a cup whole wheat flour and 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Gonna whisk these together. We're using whole wheat flour here because we want these pancakes to be nutritious, and it's got a little bit more fiber than regular all-purpose flour. And we're adding baking powder as a leavening agent. So I've whisked that together, gonna set it aside. And in a blender, we're gonna process 12 ounces of cottage cheese. Cottage cheese is great because it's gonna give us a wonderful creamy texture while adding a ton of protein. And you can use full-fat cottage cheese or low-fat cottage cheese for this recipe. I've got 1 cup of old-fashioned rolled oats, and these are great because they're gonna add fiber and protein to our pancakes. I've got 4 large eggs, 6 tablespoons of melted butter, and butter is great because it's just gonna add a ton of flavor while also giving us that necessary fat. 3 tablespoons of granulated sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and half a teaspoon of salt. Now I'm gonna blend this on high for about a minute. I just wanna make sure that everything is really smooth. I like to get things started on a lower speed before I crank it up all the way. We have so much liquid in the blender. Any blender is going to be able to handle this recipe, but I do like to sometimes stop halfway through and just take my rubber spatula and scrape the sides of the blender just like you would a stand mixer if you're mixing something. That way I can make sure any little stubborn bits that are on the side of the blender get incorporated and blended so that my batter is really smooth. And the aroma from that vanilla, this already smells like a delicious breakfast. All right, it's been blending for about a minute, and the consistency is really smooth, and it almost smells like vanilla Greek yogurt. It's got a delightful aroma to it. So I've got our wheat flour and baking powder, and I'm just gonna pour this right into this bowl. Use my spatula to get every last bit. And I'm just gonna whisk this until it's combined. And it is pretty thick. It feels a bit heavy to whisk. So like any pancake batter, you don't wanna over whisk, but you do wanna make sure that you get all of that flour that's at the bottom and sides of the bowl. And your batter is gonna be really thick. Don't be tempted to add any more liquid. It's supposed to be thick. And my bowl is clear, so I can even take a peek and make sure I don't have any big pockets of flour that are clinging to the side of the bowl. All right, this looks pretty good. Let's move over to the skillet to cook the pancakes. I've got a teaspoon of vegetable oil. I'm gonna add it to a 12-inch nonstick skillet, and I'm gonna heat it over medium. I want my oil to be shimmering. That way I know my pan is hot. The first pancake never comes out right because it just takes your pan a little bit of time to heat up and get acclimated, which is a good metaphor for life. Maybe it was that first date. You were like, what? You go on the second one and it's like, hey, this is a winner. And I think another reason a lot of us have trouble with that first pancake, you might be tempted to crank the heat up so that your skillet will heat up more quickly. And then when you put that first pancake on, it's still got a lot of that residual heat, even if you turn the skillet down. So you end up with something that, is either too light or too dark, and you're still getting to that happy Goldilocks medium temperature. So you can see the oil is quickly running across the pan, and that's because it's hot. And I can even hear it starting to move and dance a little bit. I have a paper towel, and I'm just gonna wipe the oil because I don't want to fry these in a ton of oil, but I do want to make sure there is a nice coat of oil around the bottom and sides of the skillet. Now, if you do like to fry your pancakes in a lot of oil, I'm not holding that against you. I like to do that sometimes when you want those nice crispy ridges all around the outside ring of the pancake. So I've got 1/4 cup measuring cup, and I'm just gonna scoop this right onto my skillet. And I actually want this to be about 4 inches all around. I'm gonna cook 3 pancakes at once. That batter is very thick. It doesn't run on its own, but I'm using an offset spatula. You can use the back of a spoon. So the first pancake that I did, I can see it starting to bubble, and I can take a peek and check to see when it's ready to flip. It takes about 2 minutes per side. So with a lot of pancake batters, you'll notice that they will bubble, and that means that they're ready to flip. These pancakes are very dense, so you might just see some air kind of gurgling up to the top, but not as much as you would with other pancake batters. These look perfect. They're nice and golden, brown, and even all over. And for this one, you can see the tiny little bubbles starting to come up to the surface. So to make this easier on myself, I'm going to turn my skillet to flip this one. And as the other side is cooking, the same thing is happening. You see those pockets of air. Don't be tempted to smush the pancake down. Just let it keep cooking as is. And it should take a total of 2 minutes on this side as well. This one looks ready, so I'm gonna go ahead and flip it. This one didn't bubble up as much. It wasn't as thick when we put the batter down. Let's take a look at this one. So I think this one is ready. I'm gonna show you guys the other side. And I'm just gonna flip this right onto our pan. And this one is almost ready. So I'm going to flip it and flip this one right onto our pan. Now these look great. Now I'm gonna cook the rest of the batter. And again, if your skillet is looking like it needs a little bit more oil, go ahead and add a little bit more oil. While these pancakes are cooking, I'm gonna take the pancakes we already made to a 200-degree oven to keep them warm. Our pancakes are done, and you can eat these as is. They're delicious and have a little bit of sweetness to them, but we're gonna make a peanut maple yogurt topping, which is very incredible and rich from the peanut butter and even more protein from that Greek yogurt. So I've got 1 cup of Greek yogurt. I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of creamy peanut butter. I've got 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, and I'm gonna whisk this together. All right, everything looks nice and smooth and evenly incorporated. Time to stack our pancakes. So I'm gonna top it with our peanut maple yogurt topping. Just a dollop. I've got some chopped roasted peanuts that I'm gonna sprinkle right on top. Cannot wait to try this. These are so hearty and rich and flavorful from that peanut butter maple topping. And they have just a little bit of tang from the Greek yogurt in the topping and the cottage cheese and the pancake. They're tender, they're fluffy, and they are scrumptious. This recipe for cottage cheese pancakes turns your favorite breakfast treat into a nutrition powerhouse without sacrificing one bit of the fluffy texture you love. And while you can top your pancakes with anything you like, the peanut maple Greek yogurt topping adds crunchy peanuts and peanut butter flavor with an extra boost of protein. It's a great start to any day.
Now that you're on a roll, why not take the next step? Download the America's Test Kitchen app and start learning with ATK classes today.